is he being such an ass? What's up, my little potatoes? Welcome back to Seduce Me 2. We're getting nice and heavy with Sam. That's where we stopped off last time. And I know it's been a while, and we're back at it. Now, I didn't upload any vlog videos for the last few days I was in Michigan because nothing really happened. We just hung out with family, and that was it. But I'm back, and I'm ready to get back into action with Seduce Me 2. And I also have a new game I'm going to be playing later. You guys will see it when it's uploaded. So, let's get into this tasty moment with Sam here. Sam thought he had the upper hand. However, I knew how to make him go crazy. That's right, my boy. I leaned forward and locked lips with him, making him gasp against my mouth. I slyly wrapped my arms around his neck and pulled him close, letting him know that he was right and that he had better make good on my thoughts. Yeah, he better. Sam pushed forward, groaning softly and pinning me to the wall with his body. I felt my hands roam his skin. It was so strange. There was no difference in texture of Sam's green marks from his skin, almost as if the marks were part of his physical nude appearance. Oh yeah, he's in his demon form this time, which doesn't really look that different from his human form, but okay. Still, I could feel the power Sam carried just from touch and passion alone. Sam was definitely strong, and he only reaffirmed my mental assessment as he gripped onto my hips and lifted me up higher on the wall and made me wrap my legs around him. Unconsciously, I gripped onto his horns, causing him to growl almost animalistically against my lips and make me gasp at the sound. Apparently, we're riding him like a damn bull. I stared wide-eyed at Sam, seeing his eyes glow slightly. Did I hurt you?
No.
Oh, okay. Alright. I became lost in his eyes as he began to deeply enthrall me, the small ring of green around his lustful blown pupils glowing in gold as the spell took hold. I can't read today. I released a heavy moan before gripping his horns hard and pulling him back to me for a kiss. His kisses became eager and wild, like grabbing hold of his horns was a turn-on for him. Was it? I mean, it's kind of like grabbing hair, I would assume. Sam zipped us back to the bed with his inhuman speed and settled himself with me in his lap and him sitting back against the bedpost. His hands began to wander along my body, trying to control themselves from simply tearing through the fabric dividing us. In my own desire and need, I quickly forced myself away from Sam's lips and touched my nose to his, staring deep into his eyes as I began to undo every bit of clothing and strip them off of me before tossing them to who know where, the depths of hell, the dragon demon. Thankfully, he was already bare for me, so that was one less outfit in our way. God damn it. As I finally became fully bare above him, Sam wrapped his hands around my waist and adjusted himself to kneel on his knees. Me straddled over him. We didn't even need to play to know that this was going to be a rough ride. Okay. Oh, wow, I'm still holding his horns. Okay, I settled my hands back on Sam's horns, my lustful eyes burning into his as he guided me and smirked a toothy grin at me.
You better hang on.
I'm holding on. For dear life onto these horns, apparently. As my entire body became rushed with ecstasy, I couldn't stop the loud and wild moan from escaping my body as from my eyes rolled back in wild euphoria. God, what the fuck? My world rocked with waves and pulses of pleasure and desire. The room around us, the smell of sweet sweat in the air. It all became irrelevant as I made hard love to the man beneath me, clinging to his horns like handlebars. He's a fucking bicycle at this point. The harder we went, the louder we became. My vision was blurred in pure ecstasy, and I could feel nothing but the pleasure rushing through me and Sam's horns within my grasp. Soon the entire room almost quaked at the sound of our passion. I'm pretty sure everyone in this goddamn castle can hear us. As we peaked, we released a simultaneous scream and howl of carnal euphoria before wrapping our arms around each other and panting wildly. The sweat between us tingled with heat in the air, making us shiver in each other's arms. I was in utter bliss, and Sam soothed me and held me close as he very slowly tucked us beneath the bedsheets and held me close to him, allowing me to recover from the experience of being pounded to death. Fucking demon style was definitely a new experience. God, Jesus. I cuddled into Sam's embrace, nuzzling his chest and almost purring happily at the warmth that emanated from it. Sam kissed my head and chuckled.
You alright?
Yeah, just totally ripped in two, man. I could only nod before feeling myself pass out. Sam followed soon after, both of us becoming lost in the dark void of slumber. And then I have a nightmare again. I had to be ready for the trial. I half expected to wake up to Diana to be disguised as Sam as the morning came. However, as I woke, I was happily in the arms of the man I loved. So you think. Despite the tired fog over my vision, I could sense that the man who was holding me was the true Sam. The way he held me gave it all away. So you think. And as he pulled my body close to him, I giggled, knowing Sam was awake. I know you're awake.
No, you don't, you doofus.
Oh yeah, you're sleep talking right now. Bitch. I laughed and kissed his nose softly, causing Sam to open his eyes. As he gazed into my eyes and smiled, I felt my heart completely swell in joy. I had almost forgotten about the day ahead. All I wanted to do was stay in bed with him a little longer.
Morning.
Morning. Sam lazily leaned forward and kissed me before pulling me to his chest and sitting us both up.
Come on.
Do we
Time to get
have
up.
to? I don't want to get up yet. It's like I know me! As I asked, I could sense a new determination from Sam. Something about him seemed confident despite having just woken up. I tilted my head and placed my hands on his shoulders, curious as to why that was. You just had some wild sex, girl. Hey, what's got you so energized? Sam turned his head and looked in my direction, giving me a surprised look himself.
Huh? What do you mean? I'm always energized.
I don't see why that's so surprising to you. He's a succubus or an incubus. Yeah, incubus. He's an incubus, and they get energized when you have sex with them. That's how it works. You've known this for a while now, girl.
Well, that's good to hear.
Is she always there? Sam and I looked over at the door suddenly to see Diana leaning against the archway. Does nobody knock in this damn place? Holding 2 large plates of food. I was surprised she was able to carry them. Both plates were piled with food that looked absolutely delicious. Sam and I practically salivated at the sight before Sam shook his head and glared at Diana.
You ever learn how to knock?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Well, we have a lot to do, so I figured knocking would only waste precious time. My apologies.
Oh, okay, bitch. Diana walked over at last and handed us our plates before stepping back and crossing her arms. Sam began to chow down as I took the slower approach to eating what I was given with a laugh.
So, are you prepared for your test, dear?
I guess so. Sam's still a little pissed at you. That made me stop and look up at Diana. She knew that I was next. She already devoted herself to the dragon before, so it wasn't surprising, but maybe she knew what exactly was in store for me. I couldn't be sure. Do you know what my test is? Diana nodded as Sam looked up to see her answer. I gulped, now a bit worried. Can you tell me?
Unfortunately, no. I cannot. If I could, I would, dear.
You have a mouth. I grimaced, looking to the fireplace and knowing that the dragon was probably watching. I half expected him to answer for Diana, but he didn't speak. My mind began to fill with ideas of what it could be about. What was I going to be tested on? How was it going to go down? Would I have to fight? All of the possibilities lingered in my thoughts as Sam finished his food.
Hey.
Yeah? I looked to Sam, feeling him rub my back gently with his strong hand. I felt some comfort in the gesture and more from the smile on his face.
You'll be fine. I believe
Aw,
in you.
thanks, Sam. You're so sweet. Kiss him. I was happy to know that Sam believed in me and supported me. I gave him a loving peck on his lips, causing him to stare wide-eyed with a blush. I had to giggle at the sight while Diana rolled her eyes and let out a groan. Hey, girl, I mean, you're just jealous, okay? Because he wouldn't fuck you. Diana, however, looked at the fireplace.
I will say this, though. It should be easy for you.
Oh, it should? Diana nodded before turning around and looking over her shoulder to maintain eye contact with me.
Yes, that is, if you believe in your love.
I'm pretty sure I do. I stared wide-eyed at Diana before she turned and walked away, leaving me and Sam alone. I grew curious and concerned, but I had to let it go for now. The test was apparently tonight, so I had to wait. As I arrived in the hall for training, I was surprised to see Diana in the room instead of Sarah. Diana? Diana turned to me and crossed her arms, taking in my form.
You will be training with me today. I apologize for Sarah's absence.
Okay, that's fine. I'm a little suspicious, but, we'll go with it, I guess. What do you mean? Where's Sarah?
He asked to train on his own for the day. As he will be in the front lines of the siege, I granted him permission.
I pressed my lips together into a fine line, but nodded. If he was charging at the front, then it made sense that he'd want to take a day and work on himself. I held my hand out and summoned my weapon, ready to fight the queen of the rebellion head-on. Alright, then don't hold back. Diana nodded and prepped her stance, summoning her saber and bringing it back behind her. I had to use this new training partner as a new experience. Not everyone would fight like Sarah, so this was a good challenge for me. Fighting with Diana was no easy task. She was quick and thought 10 steps ahead of me, catching me off guard at some points. Still, I could tell that I was putting up a good fight with my defense. What surprised me was how time passed by without me even noticing it. The more I clashed with Diana, the more ignorant I became to the sky's eventual descent from light purple to dark orange. Soon enough, our training had ended. I panted out of breath, but surprisingly still on my feet. I didn't understand how or why, but I could only assume that I was getting better, which was a good thing. What do you mean you don't understand how or why? You've been training all week. That's how you get good at things. You practice. Diana smirked as she relaxed, stretching back and making her saber vanish.
I will admit, dear, you've done well for just a handful of days.
Thanks, girl. I grinned, happy to hear that I had impressed Diana with my skills. I had only trained for a couple of days but showed great improvement. Maybe the demon world was aiding me in becoming a stronger person. Thank you, Diana. Diana nodded before walking to the exit of the room.
Now, please excuse me. I must see to the boys.
Okay.
You are free to come with if you'd like.
I would. Oh, never mind. I declined and left the room as well towards the opposite direction, feeling my bed calling to me. Besides, I didn't want to be a distraction. As I was heading to my room, I passed by a door that was only open a small crack, overhearing a quiet conversation. Oh, here comes the juicy bits.
This idea is idiotic, guard. Leaving during a war could be considered treason, and you would be abandoning your duties to your mistress.
I know that, but...
Sarah, what's going on, man? Peer in. I stopped walking and peered inside, wanting to see what was going on. I ain't letting this go. I want to hear what's going on. Sarah was standing steadfast by the large fireplace's shadow, arrogant as ever, loomed over the small table that was covered in maps and books.
Do you really think a quest like this is beneficial to the war? All it would do is leave us with one less powerful ally for a significant amount of time.
I would not be gone long. I'd research this.
Uh-oh.
Yes, I've
What is he
researched this
doing?
route multiple times. You've already spouted that more times than I care to appreciate. Regardless, even if things did go your way, if you journey there and back without some form of incident, you would turn up a day before the siege. Your mistress will not likely forgive your absence.
He's kind of got a point.
But I have a feeling that this will be worth that absence. If I can do this, if I can prove that my love for her is real.
Oh boy.
You are having delusions of grandeur. Love does not exist for us demons.
That's not
Question
true.
folly.
That's not true. Don't listen to him. I glared at Shadow. Why was he being such an ass? God damn it. Why is my reading so horrible? Sarah, however, looked to his feet, gritting his teeth and shutting his eyes.
You came here and asked for my counsel, guard. I am merely telling you the truth of the matter. Whatever hope that human placed in your mind is illogical, and only a detriment.
Love is
to our
real,
cause.
Shadow. Shut the fuck up!
I hope you take my words into careful consideration. Nothing fruitful will come from this journey you wish to undertake.
As he finished speaking, Shadow faded into a black shadow on the ground and slipped into the dark corner of the library, vanishing from sight completely. Sarah growled beneath his gritted teeth and slammed his fist against the mantel behind him, forming a large crack on the stone.
Damn it.
Hey, buddy. We need to console him. He's having a hard time, apparently. Shadow was wrong. Whatever Sarah wanted to do to prove his love for Diana was worth it. I felt my heart agree with my thoughts with a firm thump in my chest. Taking a deep breath, I opened the door and entered the room. Sarah looked up at me with a startled gaze when he heard the door creak as it opened. Sarah looked down at the table embarrassed while he rubbed the back of his neck.
How long were you there?
Quite a while, man. Long enough to hear what Shadow said about me. With a frown, Sarah turned his gaze to his feet. As I stepped further into the room, he let out a sigh.
I've been thinking a lot about what we've talked about. You asked me if there was a way to prove my love to Isaiah. Well, there is a way.
Do it, man. Really? Sarah nodded before ushering me over to the table. I walked over and looked at what Sarah wanted to show me, a large set of maps all pointing to a single area in the abyssal plains near the ocean.
There's a legend that has been passed around the demon world for eons. The Golden Rose.
Ooh.
It's said that if someone finds its hiding place and proves that the love in their heart is real, the rose will blossom and become physical proof of their true love.
That's pretty cool. Is this legend true?
No one can say for sure. No one has ever found it, yet the legend exists, so it must have some form of merit.
Oh,
I've
boy.
tried for years to find its location, and now I have.
Well, I hope it's true, man. Otherwise, this will be a waste of time. Sarah pointed at a hand-drawn circle on the map and glided his finger along the map towards the area where the rose was said to be.
It would only take me 2 days to get there and to return. If the story is true, then I'm positive I can find it and bring it back to Isaiah as proof of my love.
Okay. As Sarah finished, a smile darkened to a sad grimace.
However, I have been advised against this journey, and for good reason. I would be abandoning my lady days before the final battle, and that alone could be considered treason.
Ooh.
Even more so, would she forgive me for leaving at such a crucial time?
Shit, man, that's a hard one. That's a difficult one. I looked at Sarah's face, seeing the conflicting emotions running through his eyes as he stared at the maps in front of us. Was it really worth it?
Still, this may be my
Why can't you
only
do this
chance
after the
to
war?
do this.
Oh, okay.
When we win this war, my lady will require me to be by her side more so than ever. I must be there to support her at all times
Oh,
when
boy.
she rebuilds this broken world, but I would lose the chance to prove my love to her.
I didn't know what to say in response. While I wanted him to do what he felt was right, there was so many things that could go wrong. What if the legend was false? He'd be gone for nothing and would come back empty-handed. What if something happened while he was away? He wouldn't be able to return in time to help. Or what if something happened to him on his journey? He wasn't invincible. I closed my eyes, trying to figure out what to say to him. When I realized what I wanted to say, I spoke up. Good, because I don't know. Oh, shit. You should... Shit. I want to say you should go. Love is true, man, but what if it's false? You should go for it, man. You won't have a chance like this again. This will be your only chance. So I really loved Diana. It was plain as day, and if she wasn't persuaded yet from his words and dedication, this journey would convince her. It was worth the risk if he was really in love with her. She was strong enough to handle things on her own while Sarah was away, that's true. Sarah looked at me in surprise as I smiled at him. If this will prove your love to her, then you should find the rose and give it to her. Whatever the risk is, if you believe it's worth it, then do it. Something in Sarah's eyes glistened as if a spark had been ignited, and the hope in his heart began to burn with joy. A smile grew onto his face as he nodded, now determined.
You're right. I'll leave tonight and come back with the rose, even if it's the last thing I do.
Okay, just don't die, please. I'll feel bad. I grinned wildly. I was happy for him. To see Sarah so determined to prove his love filled my soul with joy. As he stepped towards me, I watched as he wrapped his arm around me, giving me a friendly hug.
Thank you for your help.
Yeah.
I won't ever forget this.
Yeah, man. You got this. I smiled and hugged him back, patting his back. At my words, he squeezed me tighter before letting me go. Sarah nodded to me before rushing out of the library, most likely to set off on his journey as quickly as possible. He needed all the time he could get. I, however, felt my heart give an approving thud in my chest. I had done the right thing. It raised a question, however. Would I have done the same for the one I love? Yeah? After a brief moment, I nodded to myself. Yes, I would have. I left the library and headed towards my room, now filled with determination of my own. Hey, Sam! As I marched back to my room, I was stopped by Sam. I stared at him as he leaned against the door to our room as if he had been waiting for me for a while.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? Hey. I knew that this could only mean one thing. My test was waiting for me. Oh, shit, I almost forgot about that. I pressed my lips together, nervous, but knowing that I had to go through it regardless of how I felt. Diana's words began to flood back into my mind as I took Sam's hand and gave it a squeeze. Sam squeezed my hand back, nodding, and led me away from my bedroom towards the wardroom where Diana was waiting for us. Please don't let me fuck this up. As I expected, Sarah wasn't with Diana, which made Diana's anxiousness seem a little more prominent. He really did never leave her side. Was she that dependent on him? As Diana locked her sights on us, she let out a sigh and gestured to the table, where a large conglomerate, fancy word, of items were placed and presented. Sam halted his stop, staring at the table in absolute shock. I, however, merely grew confused. On the table was an assortment of single flowers, each of a different color and type. They were formed in a magic circle pattern, but there was no magic to be seen.
When did you...
Hush, this is for her.
Oh, okay. Sam instantly shut his mouth as I looked to Sam in confusion. He knew what this was. I turned to Diana, completely lost.
Dear, do you know what I've prepared here?
Fuck no, I don't. I stared at the table, unsure how to discern it. A couple of ideas came to mind, but I didn't want to be wrong if this was part of the test. Sam knew what it was, too, given the strong reaction from him. Could it have been... Oh, it could be. A demon marriage ritual? That was it. It had to have been it. Why else would Sam react so strangely? It had been on his mind, and now it was staring me dead in the face. Diana nodded, gesturing to the flowers.
This is a marriage ritual. Freshly blossomed flowers, holding peak-worthy magical essence, arranged in a magic circle.
This'll be an easy test,
are
yeah.
part of what a binding ritual needs to happen.
Part? Diana nodded and looked at the table.
The other part is a precious item forged between two souls to bind them together.
And what would that be? I couldn't believe it. This was my test? There was no way I was ready for this, but here I was, staring at a setup that just screamed, go through with it. Part of me was angry and aggravated. I had to go through this for some stupid dragon's power? This was something Sam and I were supposed to discuss together. Now it felt like an arranged agreement. What was I going to do? The test was obviously going to make me go through with this for the sake of Sam, but I still wasn't ready. Soul binding seemed very heavy, and as much as I loved Sam, I needed to be 100% clear. Sam stepped forward and glared at Diana.
We're not doing this.
Pardon?
You heard me. We're not going through with this.
I stared at Sam wide-eyed. What? He didn't want to go through with it anymore? What was going on? I remembered clearly that he wanted to do it. Now he was against it? Sam looked to me and I could suddenly see the reason why buried in his eyes. He still wanted to, but not like this. I could tell he was throwing away something he desperately wanted for my own sake. Sam turned and grasped my shoulder, staring into my eyes.
I know that I want to do this.
Oh boy, you guys are
to do this
hitting
more
me
than
hard with the
anything.
feels.
But you are more important to me than some dumb ritual. I will never let you force yourself to make this decision if you're nowhere near ready.
I'm totally ready. Let's do it. I felt like crying. This was exactly why I loved him. This was one of a million reasons why Sam was so important to me. My heart felt at ease looking into his eyes and letting rogue tears roll down my cheeks. It may have seemed like a simple thing, but to me this was important. I gently caressed Sam's cheek, feeling the warmth of his skin beneath my hand and thanking every deity I knew that I had him beside me as mine. However, as Diana cleared her throat, we both turned to her in reaction. What really threw us off was seeing her cover her mouth, hiding some sort of smirk that was peeking out between her fingers.
Who said anything about you going through with it?
Well, I would just assume. Sam and I became dumbfounded. What? We didn't have to go through with it? Then why was it set up?
For fuck's sake, if you're messing with us...
For real, Diana. Diana began to laugh hysterically, causing Sam to stop talking and become dumbfounded once again. What the hell was going on?
I knew it! I knew it!
Are you okay?
What the fuck, Diana?
God damn. Sam is like my inner animal. What the fuck, Diana? I was beyond lost. As Diana continued to laugh, she curled over his stomach and covered her face, trying to catch her breath.
This was perfect! This was absolutely perfect!
Was it that perfect? Diana! Now I became frustrated. What was so funny about this? Diana finally stopped laughing, wiping her eyes from the tears that had been formed from laughing so hard, and grinned at me and Sam.
I didn't set this up to make you two do it. That would ruin the point of the test.
Okay. Then what is the test? I became flustered, now mentally scrambled as to what was going on. As my body suddenly began to sink into the ground, however, I gasped and looked down, seeing a large purple pentagram pulling me and Sam into the floor.
Whoa!
Demon marriage lets you know where your soul partner is at all times. The test is that you find your husband without it.
I will. I couldn't even fight back as I was engulfed by darkness at last. I couldn't tell how long I was trapped in that darkness. All I knew was that I was going to wake up and find Sam. As I opened my eyes, I had to adjust to the bright light around me and the sound of nature in my ears. I rubbed my eyes and found myself in a forest, laying underneath a large tree with burn marks across its bark. I could tell that this would be my starting place and my marker if I got lost, so while I felt terrible for the tree, I was thankful to have something to visually reference. So this was my test. I had to find the man I loved without anything but my heart and my instincts. This was cheesy as hell, expecting someone to find someone else using the power of love. I loved Sam deeply, but I didn't know if it would be strong enough to guide me through a terrain I was unaware of to Sam, who also could have been wandering around looking for me. There were so many variables to consider. Still, this was a test for a reason. I had to figure this out. I cut my hands together and shouted, knowing his name would be a way to bring him to me. Amoris! The nearby birds around me fluttered wildly into the air in surprise of my shout, but Sam didn't appear. What the hell? That was supposed to have worked. Something must have had him under holy magic or something to negate the demon summoning. Another part of the test. Guess I wasn't allowed to cheat. It was worth a try. Okay, well, I don't seem not calm. I think I seem pretty calm, so let's just go. I started heading to the left of the tree's burn marks. It was better than no direction at all, and it was a start. Each step I took became one filled with haste. I wanted to find Sam soon, and I didn't want to laze about this. It felt like hours went by until I stopped and looked around, exhausted from walking so far at such a fast pace. I leaned against a nearby tree, catching my breath. How the hell am I going to find him? Something in my heart began to feel heavy. What if I wasn't able to find him? What if this was an impossible quest? I felt my body slide down the side of the tree, making me sit down at the base in fear. This couldn't be. Sadness and ache began to consume my thoughts. There was no way to track him, no way to find him at all in this place. I'd be searching forever, only hoping that I would find him and pray that he was alive when I did. My hands combed through my hair and I fought back tears. Please let me wake up if this was a dream. Please let me see him again.
Giving up so soon, my dear?
Oh, she's watching us. At Diana's voice, I suddenly gasped and looked up, only to find no one around. I quickly stood and scanned the area, but alas, there was only trees around. Diana, I don't know what to do. How can I find him?
You have all of the means to find him. You're just not thinking it through.
Okay. I looked into the air, confused as ever. What did she mean? I didn't have anything but the clothes I was wearing. Diana chuckled slightly.
Think. Besides his heart, what else did he give you as a token of his love?
Well, shit, man. As she said it, the answer came to my mind, replaying the night Sam proposed to me in the night sky. I looked to my hand, seeing the engagement ring Sam had given me resting on my finger, glistening in the light. Oh, shit!
There we are. The other part of the marriage ritual.
Second part? This was...
Indeed. It seems he intended to ask you to be his, in body, heart, and spirit.
My heart gave a hard and heated thump against my chest, agreeing with Diana's words. He'd been prepared all along to ask me to be his, but wanted to at least give me what I wanted first before asking for what he wanted. I smiled, staring at the sparkling emeralds and diamonds on my ring and finally feeling the magic pulse within it. Still, I was lost on how to use it. Like a fucking star, use it, maybe it'll light up a path, I don't know. How will this help me? Diana chuckled once more, her voice quieter than before.
I can't give you all of the answers, dear. But at least you won't be lost anymore.
Thanks, Diana. Her voice finally vanished into the air, leaving me alone once more. However, my focus was on my ring. I remember clearly that this wasn't an ordinary ring, but one magically forged the night Sam proposed. Sam, I'm going to find you. I nodded and felt a wave of hope and courage rush through my body. I was ready now. I focused on the ring, trying to will it to give me a sign, a hint, anything to help me find Sam. As I stared into it, a word popped into my mind. Letting it loose, I could feel magic pulse into the air from around my body. Amor. Isn't that like fucking Spanish or something? My hands suddenly became wrapped in green chain-shaped markings, sprouting from the base of my ring. Before jutting off of my skin and flying forward through the air and deeper into the forest, I felt myself grinning from ear to ear. I was going to find him. I quickly burst into a sprint, following the ethereal chain that was leading me towards Sam, uncaring of the harsh breaths I was taking or the pain that shot through my legs. I needed to keep going forward. All that mattered was that I had to keep moving forward. The chain twisted and turned around the trees and often arced around obstacles for me, guiding me perfectly towards a thicker brush of woods. The amount of bushes and smaller trees began to grow the farther in I went, but I continued. Soon enough, I found myself walking towards the descending mouth of a cave where a familiar brown-haired demon boy laid face down at its edge. Sam! I ran forward and slid into my knees, lifting his head into my lap. Around his neck was a golden collar, which, upon my touch, vanished and caused Sam to stir from his comatose state. Well, that wasn't so hard. I thought that'd be a little more difficult.
What?
I found you! My heart began to swell as I stared down at him, tears welling up in my eyes. This was really him. He was safe here in my arms, and I had found him. His emerald gaze bored into mine, still dazed from the sleep he was in. As he stared up at me, Sam lifted his hand and caressed my cheek, causing me to unconsciously nuzzle into it.
There you are.
There I am. Boy, you are going to let me kiss you? I couldn't help but repeat the first words he had ever said to me. They had engraved themselves into my mind, and I was forever thankful for that day. Sam's lips curved into a smug smile, remembering the phrase perfectly.
And hurry up and do it.
Oh man, I'm so happy right now. I grinned and bent down, capturing his lips with my own. My entire body felt complete as our lips touched. I didn't care if he took energy from me in it. I had found him.
Well done.
Hello. To our surprise, the voice didn't ring in our heads. The voice of the dragon echoed from the cave, causing me and Sam to separate and stare into the void.
You have proven to me the strength of your heart. Now, for the final test.
I thought he already had a test,
Sam
and he's passed it.
Must prove his.
I instinctively gripped Sam tighter. Why weren't we going to be... We weren't going to be separate again, were we? No, I'm confused. He's trying to test them to see if they're worthy of his dragon power. I don't understand how testing their love has anything to do with that, but you know what? I'm not going to question it. Sam, however, slowly stood up, guiding me with him, and glared into the darkness.
Hit me with your best shot. I'm ready.
Sam determined. A dark, echoing chuckle reverberated from the cave, causing a sliver of fear to rush down my body. I was beyond nervous, but we had come this far. We were going to win his powers.
Step into the cave and face me.
Fucking breathing.
Judge you.
The memories of my nightmare began to fill my head. What if it was a trick? What if the dragon killed Sam while he was in there? Despite my frightening thoughts, Sam stepped towards the cave, nodding.
You got it.
Every voice and nerve in my head screamed for me to stop him. I didn't want him to die. At the same time, this was a test. He had to do it. I was placing my heart on the table and hoping it wouldn't be ripped apart with a single blast. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is... Oh shit. I'll let him do it. I'll let him do it. I trust in Sam. I trust in him. I trust him. He could do this. I put my trust in him. I watched as Sam walked into the cave, falling behind until he vanished into the darkness. I stood once again between the light and the dark, waiting. Please don't tell me I fucked up. Moments of silence ran by, filling my body with anxiousness. Was he safe? Was he okay? At the sudden shout of a dragon's roar, I jumped and gripped at the cave wall, frightened to the core. It echoed in silence out of the mouth of the cave, but I became worried. What happened? What was going on? The faint echo of footsteps began to make their way towards me. Despite me not being able to see into the dark, I hoped it was Sam. I prayed it was Sam, unscathed. Okay, nope, something's wrong. As Sam finally appeared out of the darkness, I gasped, not seeing him at last, but when I saw his eyes. They were swirling with red and green flames along with whites of his eyes, while his emerald irises glowed in the shadows of the cave. Just from seeing him, I could tell he had changed and become much more powerful. Sam? Sam grinned at me, stepping up in front of me and placing a hand on my head.
Sup, you doofus?
Okay, he's still normal. Okay. I was freaking out for a second. Whew! I bit my lip and shook my head, pounding a fist into his chest before hugging him to me tightly.
Oh, hey, it's all right.
Man, I was worried! Thank God you are.
May your battle be won.
Lord of Dragons. Shit, man.
Lord of
That's
Dragons.
intense. I looked over Sam's shoulder into the darkness, seeing the faint outlines of a large dragon's head fade away before my eyes. What the... Lord of Dragons? Before Sam could answer me, a light burst into the air, causing us to grip onto each other and shut our eyes. The warmth of the light seemed to confront and ease our travel to wherever the dragon was sending us. Regardless, I clung to Sam tightly, desperate not to let go of him. Oh, his eyes are back to normal. When we opened our eyes at last, we were in the war room in the middle of space with the rebel leaders, the incubi, and their wives staring wide-eyed at us. Before anyone could move, however, Diana applauded at us, making everyone turn their heads toward her in confusion.
Well done, you two.
We won! Yay!
Wait, you knew where they were all along?
Yeah, she did, lying bitch.
She told us they were gone. She didn't say she didn't know where.
She's got it.
Listen, that's rude. At least they're safe now.
Yeah, we're cool, we're fine. James, however, took a step towards Sam, peering at him. Sam's eyes had returned to normal, but I bet that his aura was different now that he was Lord of Dragons, or whatever the dragon had called him.
At least you're safe now.
Yes.
You were worried about him too, dude.
Don't ruin it. He has a reputation.
Oh boy.
He's much
That
stronger
laugh was a
than before
little
now.
weird. I don't know about it. Sounded a little weird. Sam gave James a smug look before holding out his hand.
Yeah, I'm all right now.
The two brothers shook hands, smiling at one another. I was happy to know that he was all right as well, giving him a squeeze. Diana, however, cleared her throat as the rebel leaders took off, catching everyone's attention.
Well, I hate to break up this little reunion, but we have a battle to fight tomorrow.
That's true.
We should rest.
Everyone was in agreement, especially my aching body. The run in the forest was not a kind one. As everyone began to leave, however, Diana called out.
Sam, a moment, please. Alone.
Uh-oh. Okay. I was worried about what Diana wanted to speak to Sam about alone, but I left the room with the rest of the group regardless. Diana seemed adamant. However, I remained at the door, listening in. I think we're going to stop right here. I'm pretty sure in the next episode will be the last for Sam's route, because we'll go into battle and that'll be it. We'll stop it right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This one was pretty crazy, it was a little confusing, but we got through it. We succeeded. Our love for Sam was strong, and we are strong, and we are here, and we will see what happens in the next episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right? Later, taters! Darrow lifted Diana into his arms like she was a bride who had fainted, but continued to glare at the back of Sam's head. Hey, don't be pissy at Sam. She brought that on herself. I mean, you can't fuck around and not expect to get the shit beat out of you. Finally, Sam lifted his head and looked at Sarah, growing a glare of his own.
Tell that bitch to stay away from me if she wants to keep...